Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are looking at the DC Multiverse Wonder Woman. Now, I believe this is the second release of this action figure. This belongs to the McFarlane Gold Label collection. So generally with the Gold Label collection, it's normally a re-release of a previous action figure, but somehow they upgrade it or change it. There might be an additional accessory. There might be a new sculpt or a new paint scheme. In the case of this, we're seeing a new paint scheme, and I believe Wonder Woman's Lasso of Truth is a new accessory. I passed on the figure the first time it came out because, in all honesty, I wasn't keen on the color scheme. Here is the first release of the action figure. Let me fold this in here. So this was the first release of the action figure. This fell under the McFarlane-designed action figure. For those of you that kind of remember, some McFarlane action figures, they'll have this logo on the side where it says McFarlane-designed. There's been a couple of Batman figures that he designed and this Wonder Woman. This was the first release of the figure. As you can see, much different color scheme. I remember seeing this in the stores the first time, and I loved the sculpt. But the color scheme, it kind of just bothered me a lot. There was too much blue. It didn't flow right. And I didn't even know this figure was coming out. I didn't know there was going to be a gold label one. And this one, the costume, it's more red. It's kind of more in line with Diana's traditional colors. And for me, this was a no-brainer. I definitely wanted this. But it's kind of ironic because now that I have this, there's a part of me that kind of wants to go back and maybe pick up the first release, even though I wasn't too hot on the color scheme. The all blue color scheme kind of reminds me of the costume worn by Adrian Palicki in the NBC Wonder Woman pilot. I think that costume was predominantly blue. I might be wrong on that though. But having this figure now makes me want to kind of pick up the first release. The first release, much like the updated figure, has the shield and also the sword. But like I mentioned, I believe the Lasso of Truth is exclusive to this figure right here. Wonder Woman looks great. I really dig the gold label packaging. I kind of find it funny that these are for DC Multiverse, but they have the Spawn logo in the corner. Since it's Todd Toys, Spawn Toys. The figure looks great. The accessories fill out the box nicely. Love the color scheme. Can't get enough of that. On the side, like I mentioned, there's that kind of like stamp, Todd McFarlane-designed. Wonder Woman, designed by Todd McFarlane. On the back, some action figure photography, up close shot of the figure. Now, I would have loved it if, Todd McFarlane's a comic book artist. He's world renowned for working on Spider-Man, creating Spawn. I would love to actually have, instead of this photograph here, if they actually gave us an illustration of this character done by McFarlane. I think that'd look great. We have some of the other figures currently out. We have Lex Luthor on the Throne of Apocalypse. We have Lobo, the gold label Lex Luthor in the Superman costume, and then we have Superboy Prime. I've reviewed all these figures. They're all excellent. And let's get started with Wonder Woman. Right, so I purchased this figure the other day at my local Walmart. I was kind of surprised to see it, and this was the only one they had. And, like I said, the first release of the figure, I wasn't too keen on all blue, and I didn't know they were making this costume. And when I saw this version, I'm like, I have to have it. They corrected everything that I thought was wrong with the first release. First impressions of the figure while it's in the tray, it's definitely Diana. In the correct color scheme, even though this costume is kind of more so fictional because it's based off a McFarlane design. This isn't something that's appeared in a comic book or in a movie or in an animation. The shield is impressive. This thing is awesome. It's beautiful. It's very ornate. Lots of incredible, intricate texturing on the surface of the shield. You have a lot of rivets throughout. Adds a sense of realism to it. Has the Wonder Woman Eagle logo on the back. You have these harnesses. Nicely sculpted. Nice texture. This looks fantastic. She's wielding this giant great sword. It looks awesome as well. Very ornate. Lots and lots of detailing and patterns and texture. The blade looks crazy. It's made of a softer plastic, so it's a little bit more flexible. I can really appreciate that. Like I said in a previous video, like some of McFarlane's previous action figures, like their Game of Thrones figures, the weapons were like much rigid plastic. And my Jon Snow figure, both the sword and knife broke because it was a much rigid, fragile plastic, and then it snapped like right at the handle. Very annoying. But this is great. Love the detail. Love the colors. As you can see, the sword is gold. With silver highlights on the upper surface. The Lasso of Truth, which we see right here. So unfortunately, this thing isn't like a bendy. It's this solid piece. I would refrain from trying to coil it up or, bending it too much, because I don't know how durable this plastic is, even though it's kind of soft. You never know. It might stress and crack over time. Alright, so next up we have the main event. We have Wonder Woman herself. Let's take her out. Alright, just to warn you in advance, I'm kind of losing my voice right now. This is like the 5th video I've shot today. I'm trying to get caught up on my backlog. So just bear with me if my voice quality isn't really all that well today. Okay, we have Princess Diana, aka Wonder Woman. Now, I love the look of this character. Like I said, the first release, the color scheme was just so off for me. It was predominantly blue. The one thing I like about the red and the gold and the silver and the blue, it all works really well here. Her body armor is predominantly red. It's weird though, because it feels like there's parts of this that should have been flesh colored. Like if you look at her abdomen, you can see her belly button, and it's kind of like recessed here. So I have a feeling that initially, probably the original design probably called for this piece here to be like flesh colored. But I think in terms of the paint application, it might have been too costly, maybe too complicated. So for me, the ideal version of this would have this abdomen piece flesh colored, and also have her legs flesh colored. I think, as much as I love the red, I think it's a little too excessive, but it works really well with the gold, because when you think of regal colors, like colors that denote royalty, definitely gold is on the list, silver is on the list, but even like red's a very bold color. It's a very life color, so it really stands out on this character, and with the combination of this shade of blue, it works really well. It looks fantastic. The sculpting on this figure, on the face, it feels like it's a little soft. Don't get me wrong, it's cleanly sculpted, but it looks fantastic. Her headdress looks amazing with the wings and the centerpiece on the headband. The hair is nice and long and flowing, really well sculpted, as you can see there. The body armor looks great. You kind of have Wonder Woman's logo on the top of her chest. Nicely sculpted. Some scribe lines. There's some straps across her abdomen. A nice mesh texture on the sides. And let's not forget the shoulder pads. They look great. There's nice sculpting and detailing. There's some spikes protruding from the top. Some ornate trim on the sides. And they appear to be glued onto the top of the arms. Yeah. So they're tabbed in. Here's a tab. And they're socketed into the upper arm. Her bicep has wraps on it. And it has the Wonder Woman logo. The forearm guards look great. Really well designed. This kind of feels like a very gladiatorial, Romanesque kind of character. It's even almost on the fantasy side, especially with the wings. It's kind of like Viking-like. This looks like something you'd probably see like in a video game. Like World of Warcraft or like a Skyrim mod. Beautiful Wonder Woman logo on her buckle. Nice texture for her belt. The skirt's nice and distressed, has a sense of realism to it. There's her butt, nicely sculpted. Great texture. It's almost like a scale mail or a mesh. The knee guards look incredible. I love that design. As are the boots. The boots are in silver. So yeah, very strong design. It looks like a great character. This is kind of like Wonder Woman that I kind of imagine her like if she's leading like an army of Amazonians and then she's at the forefront. This is like her in her like battle war gear. And if you notice here on her belt, there's like a kind of like a hook here, and I believe this is for the lasso. And like I said, you shouldn't really necessarily coil this up, but I'm going to do it anyways because I want to see what it looks like on her body. Maybe you are meant to do this. I don't know. So you can do that, and you can just hang it from her waist like that with the hook. The shield, how well does the shield fit? It goes on pretty easy. The straps here, they're not too tight. It's not like some of those Marvel Legend figures like with Captain America where the straps are too tight or they're too small. And it's kind of hard to get onto the forearm of the character. Here, it's nice and gappy and it's snug. So you can easily get her shield on. Like that. And let's complete the look with her sword. One thing that bothers me with her sword is that the hilt or handle, there's no detailing on it. It's just bare. It'd be nice if they took some like detailing and added like maybe like a bandage wrap on it or like some jewels. It just looks kind of naked. Let's get this into focus. This looks great. Yeah, this is a wonderful figure. If you passed on the first release, I highly suggest you don't do that on this. I think this is incredible look for the character, especially with this color scheme. It's really strong. It's really bold. It makes the character look like really authoritative. Gives it a great sense of presence. And she does not want to come into focus. There you go. Yeah, beautiful looking figure. In all honesty, I think this is probably my favorite Wonder Woman figure that's out right now. I really like the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman 84 figure, just the basic one and not the battle armored one with the wings. But this one really takes the cake. Just look at that. That's fantastic. Now let's examine her articulation. I'm guessing it's pretty standard. Get her into focus. Her head rotates. She could look down about that much. Looks up. Pretty decent. Now her flesh tone is kind of a little bit on the paler side. Which I think works. Initially I was going to say that I would like to see maybe some pinks or red added to like bring out her flesh, but at the same time her body's covered in so much red and gold. You know, having the paler skin tone really increases the contrast and brings attention to the armor. I think if they went for a much warmer flesh color, it might blend in too much. Her arms rotate, and the shoulder pads attached to the top of the arm, so you have full range of movement. It goes out. This is a softer rubber too, so you don't have to worry about it like hindering the movement too much. There is no butterfly joint, which is surprising. A single pinned elbow, which is surprising as well. It allows only for this much range of motion, and it's articulate. It swivels at the elbow, not at the bicep. There's a cut, I believe, below her chest, and that allows her to like swivel and also crunch a little and arch back. The movement, the range of motion isn't as far as I'd like, but at least it's there. She twists at the waist a little. It seems like it's kind of hindered by the shape of the lower abdomen and where the pelvic area is. It doesn't want to like twist that easily. She could kick forward about that much, side kick out. Double jointed knees, as you can see right there. Articulated ankles and toes. Very, very solid figure. Alright, so if I had to rate this figure on a scale of 1 to 10, for me, an easy 9 to 9.5. Visually, this is everything I want in a Wonder Woman figure. It's hyper detailed. Wonder Woman, you know, she kind of like stems from like mythology, and I love the look of this figure. It's very regal. It's very fantasy. It feels like it's something out of like, you know, ancient mythology, like some sort of Greek myth. This is kind of like the kind of body armor she would like wear if she took on the Kraken. You know, I love that. It has a very almost like Valkyrie kind of feel to it as well, especially with the wings. Her accessories are beautiful. The shield is amazing, as is the sword. Getting the Lasso of Truth is a fun little bonus. Overall, I think this figure is worth the purchase. If you're a big fan of Wonder Woman, this is definitely a must-buy in my opinion. It's not the most iconic look of the character just because it's a McFarlane design. You know, this is something that has never existed in the comic books or in the movies. But if you go look beyond that, I think the figure you're getting here is, you know, it's awesome. It's really well thought out, very detailed. The articulation isn't the greatest. I mean, everything that you need is there, but it doesn't have the full range of motion as some of the other McFarlane figures. But it's great. For this price point, you know, you're getting a premium action figure, and it's just top-notch all around. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.